Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at the deep look into Survival Hunter legendary gear effects for all hunter specs like we did in the other Marksman Hunter video. We're going to be looking at the specific legendary effects for survival, all covenant abilities, and all conduits, potency, endurance, and finesse in that order. So let's get right on into it. First up is going to be the legendary effects for all specs. Any hunter spec can wear these. It's just going to be, I'm just going to start with it because it's a neutral thing. So, Call of the Wild, the cooldown of all of your aspects, True Shot, Coordinated Assault are reduced by 25%. Be worn on a wrist or a finger. Great in PvE and great in PvP. Not really too much to explain due to the fact that it's all of your burst abilities and the straight fact that it gives you a flat 1/4 decrease on your reduction for your cooldown. So great for all aspects of the game, especially if you just wanted something that's just generally good. Nesingwari's apparatus, trapping apparatus. When a trap is triggered, gain 25 focus for a waist or feet. Not really too great. I mean, if you just want to chain kill PvE mobs for gold or something like that, then I could see this being useful, especially as a survival hunter, due to the fact that you're always up close anyway, so you can just drop tar trap everywhere, you can just drop your freezing trap on something random and break it. If you're just AoE pulling mobs, then whatever focus you can gain either way is a bonus. But for PvP, I don't see this being that great, because the main thing is you're not going to be throwing traps to gain focus. You're going to be throwing traps to CC, keep enemies off of your healer, just basically make people chase you, and it's not really used for focus gain. So, Soulforge Embers. So this one I really like because it's very unique. I'm happy with it, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to create the dot. So Soulforge Embers, launching a flare into your tar trap causes up to 5 enemies inside of the tar trap to burn for 210% of attack power as fire damage over 12 seconds for head or shoulder. It's a new Torghast anima power, so you can only get this as a power naturally in Torghast, but they made it a Lego power, which is pretty sweet. So my big thing is if your enemies have to stand in the trap for the full 12 second duration, if you're in PvE, it could be really good, but there's no way you're locking down another player for 12 seconds in a fire trap just to get a little extra DPS. There's just no way. But on the other hand, if it was to say, create a dot, like when a fire mage hits his target with a fireball or a G-Pie or a pyroblast, anything, and you get the ignite dot. Now if that was to happen and you were to actually put a dot up on your target, I could see this being good for PvE and PvP, because you're slowing them with your tar trap. You're making sure, like, if you stand in it, no rogues can get you because your flare's up, and you're dealing damage to enemies. So it's also a combination of something that you don't use very much unless you're fighting rogues, which is flare, against something that you use most of the time when you're trying to kite out enemies or just keep your distance. Craven Stratagem. Feign Death cooldown reduced by 15 seconds, and Feign Death now removes most negative status effects from yourself. So as a survival hunter, for a neck or a chest piece, it's not that bad, but you also have survival tactics, which is very nice. So this is a very, non-descriptive term. Now removes most negative status effects. What is most? Is it curses, poisons, disease, magic, anything? What is it? Give us some type of specifics so we know what we can use it for, because technically as a survival hunter you have mending bandage, like Marksman does not. So if this takes away your Mending Bandage. You're not going to want to give up your Mending Bandage for this, because every 30 seconds you have a Feign Death anyway. It's, yeah, you get 15-second cooldown for it, and it removes most negative status effects, so I don't think it's going to remove your dots. I mean, I can't really say, I haven't tested it, but I don't think it's going to... I want to really be positive and say it's going to remove bleeds, like the same thing as Mending Bandage does. Because if so, then, you know, you might sacrifice Mending Bandage for, you know, maybe Explosive Trap or something else to help suit your, like if you world PvP a lot, like just suit your needs. This, I think, would be mainly good in PvE because your PvP talent does not work in PvE. So this is probably going to be very good for PvE. So we'll go down to the Survival Hunter Legendary specifics. So I'm just going to give you guys a forewarning. I kind of raged a little bit when I saw this because we're not getting anything super cool. Azerite powers. Like, man. So you got 2 Azerite powered legendary effects for Survival Hunter gear, and one is from Legion and the other is new. So first one up is Wildfire Cluster. It's for 33% of your base attack power. It's for your waist and leg slots. Let's just keep the train going. Rylax Stalker's Confounding Strike. So this is pretty cool, but it has such a low chance with such a high cost to it that it's good if you can get the procs. So Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike have a 10% chance to reset the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb. That's really awesome. To be able to reset your cooldown of an ability that you use for AoE that does a lot of damage and that generally puts up a dot on a target as well is very nice. But 30 focus for a Mongoose Bite, 30 focus for a Raptor Strike. So if you're looking at it in terms of like usability, you have maximum of 3 hits without your Pheromone Bomb to reset your kill command cooldown, so you can regen focus faster. And with the nerf to your haste, you're not going to be able to get that 10% proc as much as you would in BFA right now. So just keep that in mind. If this goes up, say 20% chance, I could see this being fairly good, especially in PvE. I could see it because all you're doing is spamming Mongoose Bites or Raptor Strike anyway. I mean, that's what you do in PvP, but you have to stay a little more distance oriented when it comes to it. So if you used Aspect of the Eagle, I could see this working really well, or this working really well, but the percentage chance needs to go up. It's very disappointing to see a 10% chance like that, especially because Survival Hunters haven't gotten any changes to talents or anything like that. So if you guys, I made a video about it. If you guys have missed that video, please go back and check it out. It's the overview for Survival Hunter coming up in Shadowlands PTR for the pre-patch and what's to come for talent changes for them. So like I said, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. You'll hear more about it. This 10%, make it 20, please. 20, 25 maybe, depending, especially because of the huge nerf to secondary stats, and so haste isn't going to be as, you know, prevalent as it is now in BFA. Next up is Latent Poison Injectors. So, Latent Poison. We all know that Survival Hunters spent the entire BFA patch for Azerite gear trying to get Latent Poison Injectors on every piece of gear. Why? Because when it stacks and you have 3 of them going at the same time, you're able to increase the damage of your next attack, used Raptor Strike or Mongoose Bite on the target, and it does a significant amount of extra damage. I don't know how they're gonna deal with it in Shadowlands, but we'll see what happens. So it's, yeah, it's one of those things. I really don't want to spend another expansion pack to go for a legendary like effect that I've basically farmed all of BFA for. That's not too intriguing. So yeah, very disheartening. But next up is Butcher's Bone Fragments. This is really cool. I could see this being very useful in like big BG setups. We all know latent poison is good for PvE and PvP. This, it could be niche for both with the low percentage chance. But this is way nicer than this in my opinion, because you're spamming this anyway. So when you hit the button, you don't have a chance to gain more damage. You gain more damage on your next Butchery or Carve. And your Butchery is looking really nice in Shadowlands right now. Your Carve still does very little damage. Yes, you have to talent into Butchery, but it's a little more worth it now. So I mean, with 100% increased damage, so that's basically, I would say, 166% of your base attack power at 10 stacks, because it's 100% at 10, and you have 88%. So if you just add 100% to 88%, you get 188% plus the 3 charges. So if you can get enough haste, you can spam your mongoose bites and get nice stack amounts and be able to do this. So it could PvE, very nice. PvP, we'll see. So that's it for legendary powers. Definitely PvE, PvP. PvE, I'm not even looking at that. Maybe PvP if it places a dot instead of the target having to stand in them. But it says up to 5 enemies inside the tar trap, so I'm assuming they have to stand in it. This could be niche depending on what you want to run for PvP talents, or during PvE encounters depending on what negative effects it removes. This very disheartening. Not happy about it. Increase the percentage, I'll be happy. Probably say it's good for PvE. Wildfire Cluster Bomb usually is for BFA right now. Just the extra AoE damage is really nice. I could say Battlegrounds PvP. Depending on how much damage this really does in Shadowlands, I could see it maybe being like used as a single target just to hit maybe the same target multiple times with the same bomb. Definitely need more percentage, but could be very good for PvE and PvP. Good for PvE and PvP in my opinion. Single target fights it excels in, unless you go with the talent to multiply, like so you can use Serpent Sting once, tap the button, and it hits multiple targets. You could talent into that, and that it could make it good for PvP and PvE. So something to look forward to when Shadowlands comes out, so I can test it. This very good for PvE in my opinion. Haven't had a chance to test it, but when it comes time, I'm gonna test this. This is gonna be very interesting. And so that concludes the legendaries. Let's move on to Covenant abilities. So all hunter classes get the exact same Covenant abilities, exact same Covenant signature abilities. So for this, Kyrian. Resonating Arrow. Fire a resonating arrow to the target location that deals 20% of attack power as arcane damage to any enemy in the area, and fill the area with echoing enema for 10 seconds. The effect causes your attacks to ignore line of sight to enemies in the area, and you have 30% increased critical strike chance against them. Leaving the area of echoing enema will still allow the hunter to ignore line of sight towards the enemy for 4 seconds. In my marksman video, this is prime for survival, unless you're going for like aspect of the eagle cooldown reduction from that first legendary. Like if you're gonna go, I'll give you guys an example. So if you're gonna go Call of the Wild Legendary, and then the PvP talent to reduce the cooldown even further of your aspects, right? Then I could see this being very good for a ranged survival hunter using Eagle like every 30 to 40 seconds. Other than that, I don't see big uses besides like if your enemy team is grouped up behind like a pillar and then you drop it on them. The increased critical strike chance is great. So to continue for PvE, maybe. I could see this being fairly good for survival hunters with that 30% increased crit chance, but it's going to take a lot of testing, so I can't really specify on what it would be good for. I would say maybe both. This is good. I love the signature ability, the fact that you have basically another mending bandage, except I think mending does 30% of your health and this does 20%. So if you're survival, you can technically have an instant heal that removes all curses, disease, poisons, and bleeds, and then you can have mending bandage. So you got, you know, use your mending. If it's on cooldown and you're in an oh shit moment, use this. So this could be fairly good. We'll have to see how it turns out. I'll need to test it. But it could be good for both. Venthyr. So Flayed Shot. Fire a shot at your enemy, causing them to bleed for 250% of attack power as shadow damage over 20 seconds. Each time Flayed Shot deals damage, you have a 15% chance to gain Flayer's Mark, causing your next kill shot to be free and usable on any target regardless of their current health. So PvE, this could be very nice because kill shot is a huge damaging ability and one of the only abilities that, besides Serpent Sting, that you can really use as ranged as a survival hunter. So if your target's running away and you can hit them with the Flayed Shot and you get your procs off, you can just chase them down with kill shots. So PvE, very nice single target raid bosses. Probably not too great for AoE, seeing as how it's a single target ability, unless you have like a main target, like a double raid boss or something, right, where you throw the Flayed Shot up on the main boss or the secondary boss to get procs for your kill shot to hit the main boss with. So it could be one of those things. PvP, I could see this being very good for survival hunters because, like I said, it's one of your only ranged abilities. So you can Flayed Shot at 40 yards and you can kill shot. So then all you have to do is continuously reapply Serpent Sting at the same time. And now you have more dots to work with as well as a survival hunter. So more overall continuous damage instead of just straight up coordinated assault, raptor strike, or mongoose bite target until they're dead. You can kind of whittle them down a little bit better with this. Door of Shadows. I love this ability. It looks badass. The ability to move 35 yards with 1.5 second cast is going to be great in PvP, especially if you talent into it to where you can teleport to an area, and within that area around you, people become disoriented. You can set up good CC chains. You can get the hell out of dodge when you have to retreat back to a pillar. It has multiple uses that you can get out of it, and with some of the soul binds that you can use that you'll get for Venthyr, I believe one makes it instant cast and the other makes it like, you can disorient enemies or something, or you increase your movement speed for a short duration. So it can go a little bit of different ways depending on how you want to use it. But PvE wise, I could see this being very good, just not inside of AoEs. PvP, I could see this being very good. It's all going to depend on your play style. Necro Lord. So, Death Chakram. Throw a Death Chakram at your current target that will rapidly deal 25% of attack power as shadow damage 7 times, bouncing to their target, bouncing to other targets if they are nearby. Each time the Chakram deals damage, its damage is increased by 15% and you generate 3 focus. So, Survival Hunters, seriously focus starved. Awesome. Especially because, you know, the first talent in one of the ones that you can pick up is basically you regen 20 focus for using your harpoon, and if the enemy dies or whatever you're killing dies within the amount of time, you know, your harpoon resets, which is cool, but it's nothing too, you know, too awesome. So I guess you could kind of pair that with Death Chakram, because harpoon doesn't do a lot of damage. So you can use this, but if any other enemy stands near that target that's being hit by Death Chakram, you could be screwed, lose out on a lot of single target damage. So I could see it being good for PvP and PvE due to the fact that it increases damage by 15% each time it hits. So, you know, if you're doing it, it's 90, 105% increased damage. So the last hit it will hit for 130% damage. So that's pretty nice. Fleshcraft. Form a shield of flesh and bone for over 4 seconds that absorbs damage equal to 20% of your maximum health for 2 minutes. Channeling near corpses claims their essence to grow the shield up to 50% of your maximum health. This effect cannot be used. This effect against powerful enemies. So it says it's super effective against powerful enemies. Probably, I could see it being very good on raid bosses. I could see it having its uses because I've seen people use it in stealth. I'm not sure if hunters can camo and use it, but I know rogues can stealth and use it. And I know druids can also cat form stealth and use it. So I don't know. It's definitely got its flavors here, you know, to be able to have basically 120% maximum health running around at all times. You know, that's pretty crazy. So I could see this being very good for survival hunters, PvE and PvP wise, due to the fact of regen for focus, AoE ability, and single target capability with this, and the ability to keep your shit together with a shield on you, kind of like a mage. Only bad downside is it's 4 seconds, and in order to get an extra 30%, you have to stand near corpses. So battlegrounds and, you know, dungeons, I could see this being, whoa, crazy. So moving on to Night Fae. Wild Spirits. Evoke the energy of wild spirits at the target location, dealing 25% of attack power as nature damage, and apply Hunter's Mark to all enemy targets within the area for 15 seconds. While the wild spirits are active, each damaging ability you or your pet use against a target in the area will strike up to 5 nearby enemies for 35% of attack power as nature damage. PvE, I could see this being very good. It turns all of your abilities and your pet's attacks into AoEs. So I could see this being very nice. PvP, warrior, like if you're doing like a turbo cleave, or you're doing, you know, like you have a monk healer per se on the enemy team, and they can only soothing mist one target at a time, and each time they do, their healing totem, basically their healing statue transfers to the next target that they start to soothing mist. So they can't heal 2 targets at the same time, kind of like pallies for instance, unless they're close together and the pally AoE heals them with blinding light. So In that incident or circumstance, I could see this being very good in PvP because survival hunters are a melee class. It is a melee class, so it will benefit from some things that require targets to be right on top of you. But if you're fighting a wizard cleave, or I mean, if you put this behind a pillar and you get back there and you can root them all there, I can see it. But to root a mage is almost damn near impossible. To root a druid is almost damn near impossible. So it's one of those things. So PvE, yes. PvP, maybe, based off of what you can do with it and how you play your characters. So Soul Shape. I love this ability. Instant cast, turn into a Vulpin target, teleporting 15 yards forward and increasing your movement speed by 50%. You may reactivate Soul Shape every few seconds to teleport again. Lasts 12 seconds or indefinitely while in a rest area. Awesome. Fucking great. I know you guys have seen people use this. This is awesome. Great mobility, but you're also in melee range, so this could help you get out of really sticky situations for PvE and PvP. Moving on to conduits. Survival Hunter potency conduits. Deadly tandem. So coordinated assault's duration is increased by 1% as rank 1. So basically 8 seconds total. So you have a 20-second marker on coordinated assault. So you get 28 seconds total. Not too great, especially for rank 15. Flame Infusion. Butchery Carve increases the next damage of your Wildfire Bomb explosion by 10%, stacks up to 2 times. This could be fucking awesome, especially in PvE. So, like I was talking about with the Butchery PvE build, you know, once you use your Raptor Strike, hit him with a big Butchery, regain those 10 stacks, another Butchery, or you can use 2 Butcheries in a row after, you know, hitting a couple of stacks, like up to 3 or 4 stacks for another 40% increased damage on Butchery. So you technically get 128% bonus damage, or bonus 128% of attack power used. So I could see this being very good chaining into the Wildfire Bomb, and it increases the damage by 10% for 1 stack, 2 stacks, up to 20%. And this goes up to 25%, so you can get a total damage increase of 50% for 2 stacks. 25% a stack for 2 stacks. That's 50% damage increase on your Wildfire Bomb. Your Wildfire Bomb is one of your biggest damaging abilities. Fucking crazy. That is awesome. PvE and PvP, man. Especially if you're going to try and run an AoE PvP build for Butchery. Which I'm going to definitely try. Stinging Strike. Mongoose Bite, Raptor Bite, Raptor Strike. Damage is increased by 14% at rank 1. That is huge. 35% for rank 15. That's awesome. So if you can increase, you know, these are potencies, so if you can get 2 potencies in a soul bind, this one and this one, you know, that's awesome. If you're gonna go for like a PV, I don't know, it could go either way. You can combine this with just about anything you want to use, because this is what you fucking spam all the time. So strength of the pack. When kill commands cooldown is reset, gain 3% increased damage for 4 seconds. During coordinated assault, I could see this being very good. Pheromone Bomb for the Wildfire Cluster talent. Very good. Because 3% at rank 1 is not a huge ordeal, it's just 3%, right? Every percentage counts. But when you get to rank 15, I don't know if they're going to change this, because it says 8% twice, 9% twice, etc. But if it does change, it might go to 11 or 12%, but we'll talk 10% right now. If it goes to 10%, that's a big damage number increase for anything, because technically Pheromone Bomb resets kill command, Your kill command has a chance, you know, like your coordinated assault, when you use kill command, it has a chance to reset itself. It naturally has a chance to reset itself. So, I mean, shit, 10% damage bonus 100% of the time almost. You'll probably get at least I'd have to say at least an 80 to 90% uptime. 85% to a 90% uptime on this. This is awesome. So, for PvP builds, if I was going to go Butchery, I would probably do this and maybe this to even further increase the damage of my Butchery with the legendary. This I'm not even going to look at, because if you go Birds of Prey, you can just increase your coordinated assault to almost a minute, like I show you guys in that video. My previous Survival Hunter overview. So we're going to look at the Covenant Hunter Potency Soulbinds. These are baseline for all Hunter specs. It doesn't matter. These won't change. Your Finesse won't change, and your Endurance won't change per spec, but I'll go over them again in case you guys didn't see my last video a couple days ago on the Marksman Hunter one. Enfeebled Mark. Your attacks and abilities deal increased damage to enemies inside Resonating Arrow up to 15%, 5% rank 1, 15% rank. Yeah, 15. Kind of a weird way they upped it like that, but it's alright. And we all know that, so increases your attacks and abilities deal 5% increased damage to enemies inside a Resonating Arrow, and we already know that Resonating Arrow gives you 30% increased critical strike chance. So 15% increased damage to people that are in your Resonating Arrow as you're hitting them through walls, and increases your critical strike chance by 30% while they're in your Resonating Arrow. I could see this making Kyrian very good for survival hunters because of that damage boost that you're going to get, and because of this naturally increases your Mongoose Bites and Raptor Strikes damage constantly, and strength of the pack. So if I was going to do a pure straight out balls to the wall damage build, I would probably have to do Stinging Strike with, so 2 potencies of 1 Stinging Strike, 1 Strength of the Pack. And then I would probably have to try for this, putting it into a different potency. So I'd want to find something, a soulbind that had 3 potencies so I could do this. But I don't know. Well, there's a lot of testing for me to be doing in Shadowlands, so I can't wait to bring you guys that content. But that is up and coming. So, Empowered Release. Flayed Shot has an additional 5% chance to proc against the Flayed Mark, proc Flare's Mark, and increase the damage done to your next kill shot by 5%. So, I'm assuming this will go up at the same time this goes up. Or it just gives you a base flat 5%, and this will be the only number that goes up to 20%. So if it gives you an extra 5% chance to proc your kill shot, and you can get up to 20% increased damage on a kill shot, hit them with a crit, that's like a 10k kill shot almost. That's ridiculous. 8 to 10k, yeah, that would be absolutely nuts. Necrotic Barrage. Death Chakra generates an additional 2 focus and deals, the damage is increased by 5%. Rank 15, 20%. This could be very good. Your last hit on your Death Chakra would be roughly almost 275% increased damage or so with the 20% increase. So that could make it very good. Spiritual Attunement. A wild spirit's duration is increased by 3 seconds, and the damage dealt is increased by 10%. So like I said, being a survival hunter and being melee and having to be up close and personal anyway, wild spirits could be very good, because Hunter's Mark also increases the percentage damage you do to a target So percentage damage increased by percentage damage, 25%. So you get 30% at least. So there's a lot of options for survival hunters. Unfortunately, Blizzard decided not to give them any talents. Harmony of the Tortolan for endurance. Aspect of the Turtles. Cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds, rank 1. 32 seconds, rank 15. Marksman's Advantage. Hunter's Mark decreases the damage the target deals to you by 3%. So 3% is rank 1, 10% is rank 15. I could see this being very good to save your ass. Rejuvenating Wind. Exhilaration heals you for an additional 10% of your maximum health over 8 seconds. 10% at rank 1, 30% at rank 15. Very nice. Resilience of the Hunter. So basically, when Feign Death ends, you take 3% reduced damage for 8 seconds. 3% being rank 1, 10% being rank 15. So all these endurance ones are actually pretty good. So if you want to make like a really survivable hunter, you could do this and this, or you know, this with this. You know, you could do so many different combos. It's nice. I shouldn't really have to explain these for PvP or PvE. You guys should know which ones are good. But they're all generally fairly good. This is probably the most niche one of them all. So this one, and this one, all three of these are very nice. Finesse, forewarning. Hunter Finesse conduits are very boring besides the last one. So Cheetahs Vigor, aspect of the Cheetah's secondary movement speed lasts an additional 3 seconds, and its cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds. 15 seconds being rank 1. Now, I don't know if that will also increase, you know, the time that the secondary movement effect for Cheetah gives you, because if it does, that could be pretty cool. Super speedy survival hunter. But 45 seconds being rank 15. On a 3-minute cooldown, you have a 2-minute 15-second cooldown left to fight for, so it's not too bad. Reversal of Fortune. When a beast mastery or marksman hunter successfully interrupt with a counter shot, you gain 5 focus. But what we're looking at is survival hunter. So survival, initial successful interrupting an enemy with muzzle grants you 5 focus, up to 19. So if they scale it like this, if it was 20, I'd much rather have it 20, because having an odd number of focus is kind of, I'm really OCD about it, so it's kind of a pain in the ass for me. So I probably won't even look at this, even though, you know, I probably would for survival. As marksman, maybe not. But it could be good, and it's definitely going to be good in PvE. And it would obviously be good in PvP too, just the extra focus regen. Tactical Retreat. This is the one I was talking about that is actually pretty cool. And then we have one coming soon. So Tactical Retreat. Disengage slows nearby enemy movement speed for 20% for 3 seconds. Up to 50% at rank 15. This is very good because disengage increases your movement speed and, well, disengages you away from the target. So you leap backwards and you get a movement speed. If you're also able to decrease enemy movement speed at the same time by half, you don't have to concussive shot as your, like, as a marksman, you have to concussive shot as you disengage. As a survival, you have to wing clip, disengage. So if you're able to just disengage instead of wasting focus on a wing clip that doesn't do much damage, this could be very, very good. Other than that, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, it's okay. Give it a thumbs down. Let me know why so I can improve it a little bit better. If you liked it, please subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment down below with another kind of video you guys want to see. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Can't drop out.
Thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super